Placing my back struts, my RX330 today. Looks like you're in dire need of replacement. Putting about 1,200 pounds a week in them from moving tile and supplies and stuff like that. It's kind of wreaked havoc. It's about 180,000 miles, so it's time to go. So we'll see what this entails. So we used a 19 for this bolt right here. Came off really well, or easy with an impact driver. So we got that guy. Get the wheel off. Always make sure that you be careful with your wheel lock if you have one. All that stuff with it. Those guys were the 21 inch, or not 21 inch, but the 21 inch. Whatever. I'm an idiot. Who cares? That's why I work on cars when I don't want to. But this was the condition of the boot, so it's trashed. The nice thing is I saw a lot of people having to rent videos with the, taking the spring off and swapping parts and doing all that kind of stuff. I was able to get this right here from O'Reilly's, and you can buy each side about 170 bucks. So a little bit more expensive than you pay online, but it comes with everything. So you don't have to swap anything out. You literally just take the strut out, put the new strut in. You don't have to realign anything. You don't have to rent any tools. You basically pop the bolts off. And then these are the covers. You have to get two. You see those? 1, 2, and 3. Those are the bolts you have to get. It's very easy. All you have to do is just stick some kind of a flat, like 5-1 or whatever, and just pop it up. Pop it this way and just slide it out. Piece of cake. So I'll get those in a minute. Tell you what bolt those are. But so far this is actually looking like it's going to be a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Somebody actually called me a hero because I was working on my car. I don't feel like a hero. Maybe I am. So if you strip that Allen, you're done. You're going to have to come up with something really creative. So I found a screwdriver that just fit into it, and I had to shave a little bit off of it with a file just to get it loose. And I got to pull that bolt off, but that's the whole thing holding this thing up and causing a 2-hour delay. Lame bullshit. So if this happens to you and you can't get that thing off because it's stripped, you can get the other side of the bolt that's connecting it down there. Now this is still actually connected to the strut, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that thing off, or I have to buy a whole new freaking arm for that, which is gonna be a pain in the ass because I won't be able to drive anywhere, at least until I get that part. But anyways, once I get this thing off the strut itself, maybe I can carve some kind of a groove into this, manipulate it somehow just to get that thing off. But be aware, if you are stuck with this, you can take it off this bottom part and you'll still be able to get the strut off. So, got it off. Got those 2 bolts off. You just have to hit them, the end of a screwdriver into the bolt, and it'll pop off. I think I'm kind of wanting to stick in there. So you do have to have a jack to actually lift this thing up. Get this thing up off there. Now the only thing I need to do is get the bolts from inside. Right here, here, and here. Just gotta figure out which ones those are, and it should just drop out. Alright, I got it off. Just to show you, you're not gonna have a lot of space to get your fingers in there to get these bolts, so do yourself a favor and get yourself a magnet, retractable magnet. But to get those bolts off, they were 14s, came off pretty easy, and then it just kind of dropped down. So now I have to figure out what I'm gonna do about that. I might have to just clamp it down with something, hold it, get that bolt off of there, and then figure out what the next step is, because this has the same thing on there. I just ended up screwing it up. So it does move and shift. So you can get it off fairly easy, but it's good that I was able to get it off the back. So, all right, get the new one in there, see what happens. Oh, and by the way, these things are keyed in a certain way, so then when they do come off, they're shaped like that. So it's not a perfect circle around there. Just be aware of that. Take a look. Oh, and as a special note, these are different. They are not identical, even though they kind of are supposed to be identical, but there is a right side and a left side. So if you are getting these, make sure that you get the right part number. This is a 03, and this one is a 04. So I don't know which side is which until I open them up, but we'll figure that one out. Let's see if it says on the front, actually. does not say anything up there. I have to take it out. All right, so side by side, now I know why there's a left and a right. So once I pulled the other one off, as you can see, if we just lay this like this on its back, you can see how it's got this attachment facing to the left, and these are where the ABS sensors are going to be like that. So I know that this one is that one. So this is the right side rear. It doesn't really have any markings on it, just so you know. I haven't been able to see anything that says right or anything on there. There's no specific marks, but it's pretty easy if you just match up the old parts. But yeah, it comes with pretty much everything you need. Brand new boot and every piece of shenanigans. So it comes with these new bolts, which is good. So you just need to throw those in there, and then be able to attach the rest of it. I still have to deal with that nonsense. It's a good thing I have a second car. Otherwise, I would be screwed. Alright, so I was able to help my wife to get this thing off of the piece, and I think I can just reuse it if I get it on there well enough. Hopefully I'll sell the car before this ever has to be replaced again. So anyways, the problem is that screw, it just turns freely inside this hub, and it basically is just the problem that I was facing. And so it seems like it's the exact same thing down here. I didn't have any problem getting that off with just a bolt, but for some reason I had a major problem with that one. I don't see them to be any different. Very strange. Either way, this one seemed like it stuck and the other one just popped right off. So I'll just go ahead and reattach it to the strut on the new side. That way it's already on there, so I don't have any problems with getting it on. So how I got it off was I basically just held it. There was enough spacing in there. Just held this down just really, really tight, and then just turned this. Just a 14 millimeter came off. So I just put it back onto the new one. It's definitely tight. It's not going anywhere. So I just got that's for the bottom piece. But can be solved if you can just get it loose enough to where you can get behind it, pull it off this side, keep it to the strut, and then that hopefully will help you save the day. So it's a good thing that these come with the unit, because we lost one of the bolts down the wheel well, and even with this still couldn't get it. So if you want to take the whole thing apart, that's what you'd have to deal with. So we used two of the old ones, because these are 15 millimeters and the old ones were 14 millimeters. So this is actually a 15 millimeter bolt, which is not a big deal. But I will tell you, after getting this thing on there, where you're going to have the trouble is this guy. Be careful of, very careful of. These bolts were not terribly hard to get off, get those back on there. So the really only things we had to do was 10 here, 12 here. This is a 19, 19 down there. Still need to tighten those. And then this guy was a 14 and a 14. But the thing that I had the most trouble with was aligning this thing with getting it up in here, because this thing weighs probably 50 pounds. So if you're trying to hold that, you can't really get any angle unless you're outside the car and you can't see the alignment for the screws. So unless you can get this thing to drop in here in a certain way where you can attach it to this first and then jack it up, I guess that's the only way that you can really do it by yourself. So that was one hell of a pain in the ass. So just be aware that this is a danger point and this can waste a lot of your time, but you can get it off getting creative. But fuck. Alright, it's over. That was not as fun as I thought. FYI, the original stock ones were black, so this one does kind of stand out a little bit. I never really noticed it until I saw it now, but if you care about that kind of thing, maybe your car's silver, maybe you want to request it in silver or black or whatever it is, but that's the only way they come. So it would have been probably better if it was black, but who cares. It's all on there, and I can definitely tell it is riding way higher than it was. It's more matching the front tire, but this thing was only like maybe that when we started. Now, best of luck. Lots of swearing was happening, as all new adventures are, but hopefully I'll be able to get through this one very quick next time. Alright, so got the second one completely off and put the new one on in about 18 minutes. Compared to the first one, it was about 3 hours, because I ran into trouble, and I never did it before. But it's as long as you got the right tools and you get the full complete kit, and you're just very careful about those particular screws, yeah, anybody that doesn't even know anything about cars can pretty much do this.